Welcome to the Retro Craptacular podcast, where each month we continue our search for the best bad movies on the planet Earth. I am your host, Aaron, and I am joined, as always, by Matt. Welcome to your own home, sir.
Thank you. I enjoy being here.
Good. Well, that's wonderful. We have got an awesome show this week, I think. One of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah?
No.
Well,
I like it a lot. I enjoy it maybe on an unhealthy level.
oh dear.
Which is to say I like it a lot. We watched Roadhouse.
Can I buy you guys a drink? Guess not.
Patrick Swayze is
Dalton.
I thought you'd be bigger.
Opinions vary.
When he's around, anything can happen,
How does a guy like you end up a bouncer?
Just lucky, I guess.
and usually does.
If somebody gets in your face, I want you to be nice.
Don't be rude.
Ask him to walk, but be nice.
Help this gentleman to the door.
Until it's time to not be nice.
So says the fighting philosopher.
He may be hard to handle,
I keep talking, you're gonna go off thinking I'm a nice guy.
I know you're not a nice guy.
but he's easy to like.
What's the matter, Dalton? Don't you like women?
The worst I ever had was wonderful.
He's not what you'd expect,
I thought you'd be bigger.
but there's one thing you can count on. He's the best friend a good time ever had.
You guys tired?
Doc, I'll get all the sleep I need when I'm dead.
This is my time.
I'm not afraid of him.
I guess you'll be having that fire sale now, all right?
You got your hands full, kid.
I just think I'm looking at a dead man.
Patrick Swayze,
For that line of work, I thought you'd be bigger.
Gee, I've never heard that before.
Roadhouse.
What did you think of Roadhouse? You've never seen Roadhouse
I
before,
had
right?
never seen Roadhouse.
Oh
no.
my goodness, I am so curious
And I'm like
to hear your thoughts.
borderline ashamed to say this, but somehow throughout my life, I don't believe I've ever seen a Patrick Swayze movie.
What?
Yeah. I was thinking about it as we were watching it. I know so much about him.
Not even Point Break?
I've never seen Point Break.
Oh my gosh. Well, you need to watch Point Break.
It's just absurd that I've never seen him in anything.
That might be the best Swayze movie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Next
You ever
time.
seen Dirty Dancing?
I've never seen Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, that one's fine. You're okay not seeing that
But
one.
I know so much about it. I know so much about him. He's so famous. He's such a like pop culture icon.
Yeah.
He's been referenced in so
Yeah.
many different things. And now I finally see him, and I'm like, oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right?
Like there are so many men and women in this movie who make eyes at Patrick, and it's like can't blame him.
Oh,
Can't blame
everyone
him one bit.
everyone in this movie, with the exception of Sam Elliott, wants a piece of Swayze.
Yep.
And deservedly so. The dude is cut.
That is an apt description.
Yeah.
Cut.
It
I like that.
is it's impressive.
It's like more skilled than chiseled.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. What did you think of Roadhouse?
Roadhouse was pretty dang fun.
It's a really interesting movie in that I still don't know, and I've seen it. I discovered it late in life. I don't want to more recently than other movies. I think I only saw it for the first time last year.
Okay. And
and-
it's from what year?
89, 88, something like that. The reason that I went and like sought it out was it was one of these movies that kept getting referenced when you talk about like good bad movies, and 1989. And Red Letter Media talked about, they went do this thing every year where they go to B Fest, which is a 24-hour B movie marathon that happens at some college in Wisconsin.
Browser.
And so I guess Roadhouse like kicked off the event one year, and they were talking about how they had never seen it, and so I'd always heard about it, and then I found out that Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier did a commentary track for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like a fan commentary track. And so I was at London Drugs one day, and in like the 2 for $10 Blu-ray bin, there's Roadhouse, and it had the disc that had that commentary track on it. So I was like, I want to see that commentary track. But then I was like, I've never seen the movie, so I should probably watch the real movie first and then watch the commentary track. So the day I bought that movie, I watched it twice. I watched it once without commentary, and then I immediately went back and watched it again with the commentary track.
Worth it?
So worth it. And I've seen it countless times since. It's I guess it's a guilty pleasure movie for me.
Yeah?
I don't know. I don't know how guilty I feel about it, though, because I think it's just kind of awesome.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like, I went into this movie watching experience expecting a bad movie that would be funny because it was so bad. This was kind of just a fun movie.
Yeah.
What was... I mean...
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely... There's definitely some cheesy elements to it.
True.
You know, the monster truck, you know, these sort of things. But all in all, I think it's poking fun at like 80s macho machismo kind of movies.
Oh, yeah?
A little bit. I feel like it's a little tongue in cheek. That at least that's sort of the vibe I get from it. If I'm wrong, oh boy.
Oh dear, right?
Yeah, because that opens up a whole new can of worms in terms of how I see this movie. But I mean, it was directed by a man named Rowdy.
Oh dear.
Rowdy Harrington directed this movie. But you know, I think it's in some it is considered by some to be like a cult classic, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like I don't know, I see it as kind of like almost like a modern, like Western almost, you know? Like Dalton kind of rolls in.
New sheriff in town.
New sheriff in town kind of thing. To like clean up there's the corrupt guy that's, you know, taking the town for, you know, shaking them down, and he comes in to clean it up, and you got a saloon, you got your sheriff, you got the damsel in distress, you got everything. You got the corrupt politician guy. It's not really clear what exactly he is.
Not super clear, but yeah, all the elements are there.
Yeah, it's totally it's a modern Western in a way, and I enjoy it quite a bit. The movie was produced by the famous Joel Silver. Joel Cocaine Silver.
Oh dear.
80s, that's not his actual nickname.
Okay.
But, you know, like 80s mega producers. He produced Lethal Weapon, Die Hard.
That's why I know that name.
The Matrix movies. What else did he... Like everything. Everything in the 80s, pretty much, action-wise. Predator. He produced Predator.
There you go.
Yeah. He's well up there. Hundreds more credits, but those are kind of the big ones that stick in my mind. But another interesting thing that I learned while we were reading the credits was that it was shot by Dean Cundy, and I was like, I know that name. Why do I know that name? And I went and looked it up. Dude's got a resume as impressive as Joel Silver.
Yeah?
The dude shot the first 3 Halloween movies, Escape from New York, The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, all 3 Back to the Future movies, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Apollo 13, and the first Jurassic Park.
Whoa.
To name a few.
Huh.
That's of a list of like 110 credits.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
So there were some top-notch people working on this movie.
Yeah. It's like... Ooh. Oh my gosh. It's like a big it's like a big production. Like this would have been a big movie in the 80s.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess. It's not like some of the movies we watch on this show, or some of the bad movies that we enjoy watching, where they're made for $10 and everything is really cheap and amateurish, and that's kind of where the charm comes from. In this movie, it's just I don't know. The charm comes from Swayze, I guess.
Well,
and
oozes from Swayze.
Oozes from Swayze and Sam Elliott.
That too.
Sam Elliott is the man.
Oh my gosh,
he's
that voice.
I know,
That
right?
jaw.
Everything about Sam Elliott is great, and he's awesome in this movie too. But you want to get into what?
Yeah, let's. I was thinking
kind of
too,
break down what the movie's about.
If you just talked about the plot, it could sound like a fairly lame, cheesy movie.
Oh,
but
yeah.
then all the elements that brought it together make it pretty damn fun.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed that I gave a crap about the characters.
That's sort of the most interesting thing, is you do end up caring about what happens to the people in this movie. Like when Red's auto shop gets set on fire,
you feel for him.
Yeah, like you feel bad for him. And same with when they blow up Emmett's shack.
Oh, I was devastated.
You're like, holy shit, I hope Emmett's not dead.
Yeah.
And he's not. He's wearing a onesie. He's still alive.
Big red long johns.
Yeah.
As an old farmer should.
But yeah, so let's sort of get into what the movie's about for those that are unaware.
All right, so we got Patrick Swayze, all his sways of glory.
The mullet.
Oh, goodness gracious.
It's working in this movie.
Yeah.
It's working overtime.
And few people can pull that off.
Yeah.
Like,
there's few people in this movie that don't have a mullet.
And most of them look terrible.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Most of them, except Swayze.
Yeah.
Rocks it.
And he's a bouncer at a bar.
He's
and
a
club.
cooler.
A cooler, sorry.
He's the head bouncer.
The head bouncer, which is called a cooler, which I didn't know.
You never seen The Cooler? With, I think, William H. Macy?
No, I haven't.
Cooler? No, it's not as good as Roadhouse, let me tell you.
Oh, well then, forget it. And not only is he a cooler, he is, like, renowned. Renowned?
Yeah. He's well known.
That's a better way of putting it.
Somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a list of coolers out there, and he's at the top.
Him and
Wade Garrett. He even tells the guy that shows up for him. The guy Tillman shows up and is like, I need you. You're the best. He's like, Wade Garrett's the best. Wade Garrett's getting too old.
Still the best.
Still the best. And so apparently people just know who bouncers are. This is one of the things I wrote down that I still have no idea about, like, watching this movie. It's like, people seem to know who he is and are impressed by this. They're like, oh, like when he shows up at the Double Deuce for the first time, he tells one of the waitresses, like, "What? You got a name?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, well, what is it? It's Dalton. And she's like, "Oh my God, I've heard of you." And then she goes around telling her, "It's like, that guy is, that's Dalton." Oh my gosh, it's Dalton. It's Dalton. They're like, "Holy shit, that's Dalton."
Dalton.
I thought you'd be bigger. That's what
that line comes up a lot.
Everyone says that to Swayze. I guess he was kind of a short guy.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think, like Tom Cruise, kind of like 5'5", not a lot going on. Vertically,
yeah.
So yeah, I've never understood how or why everyone knows who he is, but I guess he just is this famous
newsletter
cooler
that goes out.
Yeah, like
Bouncer
Dive
Weekly?
Bar Weekly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just goes around.
The Bouncer Bulletin.
The Bouncer Bulletin. Nice, good one. He just travels the country saving bars.
Yeah, I guess so.
When we meet him, he's in New York. A place
Yeah.
called Bandstand.
We know that he's been to a few different places, and that he goes in and he takes charge of the energy of the place with the bouncers, and basically takes over the whole staff and makes sure that the riffraff is dealt with accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
And in the opening scene, he deals with some dumb chumps. One of them sucker stabs him.
Yeah.
While he turns his back to like let him be, even though he was being rowdy and stuff. And then he grabs a knife and stabs Patrick Swayze in the arm.
Yeah.
And then they are taken outside. And then, come on, let's go, let's fight. And then Patrick just turns around and walks back inside.
Yeah.
Leave him outside.
Real power move.
So good.
Got a wall of like muscly dudes stopping them from getting back in the bar. But yeah, then he's like stitching himself up, because this is the other thing, is like he carries his medical records with him at all times just because it makes things easier.
Yep.
Which is what he says.
And
but he's
knows
like,
how to stitch a wound.
Yeah, so he's like stitching himself up, and then this guy's like, I need you to come clean up my bar. It's called the Double Deuce out by Kansas City.
It's a name that's never really addressed.
No.
Except for when Sam Elliott comes up.
Oh,
to
yeah.
the bar for the first time and looks up at the name, the Double Douche.
He's like, the Double Douche.
Which, yeah, anyway, that's
good.
Why?
I don't know.
Why Double Deuce?
It's not a good name. It's not a name that inspires confidence
No.
or class.
No.
No.
Neither of those.
No, but it is, a Roadhouse. So
At least it makes me think of Strong Bad.
The Double Deuce. Yeah. It's described by the owner himself as the kind of place where they sweep up the eyeballs after closing. So that gives you kind of an idea. But when he shows up at the bar, he doesn't fly also because it's too dangerous.
No, yeah.
So he abandons his beater car, gives it to a homeless man, and then drives his Mercedes from New York all the way to Jasper, I assume Missouri?
Probably.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But also, just real quick, like one thing that stuck with me, we don't know a lot about Patrick's character, Dalton. We know that he's cool-headed and commands respect and authority.
Yep.
But then, like, why'd he quit his job at the beginning? Like, he's offered a job. He says, like, this is what I want to be paid. And the guy says, sure. And then he quits the job that he's at.
I guess he's done. I don't know. I assume his modus operandi is he shows up at a place, cleans it up, gets it to a standard of quality, makes sure that there's someone in place to maintain that, and then moves on. And like as he's leaving, he even says, "Bandstand's all yours now," to some guy.
I thought that was like, oh yeah, no, I remember that now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I was still pretty confused about all that at the beginning.
So I assume he just kind of sticks around until there's another opportunity, another place that needs cleaning up.
Guess so.
And then he moves on. So
Moves on to the Double Deuce. Yeah, I didn't really understand the motivation there for quite a while. It seemed a little weird, but
I mean, maybe he's getting more money. Maybe he asked for more money than he was making.
Probably. I kind of assumed that was it.
Yeah. So yeah, it rolls up to the Double Deuce, and it's like, sure enough, there's a net around where the band plays.
Yeah, like finely meshed. I think it's just metal, like it's a cage.
Yeah, because they get bottles thrown at them all the time.
Constantly.
And he's, watching. One of the waitresses is selling drugs. One of the other bouncers is letting in underage girls, and one of the bartenders is skimming from the register, and just sees all this nonsense going down. And something happens, and a huge brawl breaks out. And band keeps playing.
Oh yeah,
throughout the entire time.
They're professionals.
Yeah, they're nothing phases them. But yeah, so then it's like just giant bar brawl breaks out, and like tables and chairs are getting smashed, bottles are getting thrown everywhere. Like it's not like a little tussle. Like it's a room clearing brawl.
Yep.
Like everyone is punching everyone.
A lot of blood.
Yeah.
A lot of property damage.
Yeah. Like I'm amazed that they still have tables, because it seems like multiple tables would be getting broken every single night.
Yeah,
at this place.
They must have a room that's dedicated to storing extra tables and
He's
chairs.
got a table guy that just drops new tables off every day. So he's just sitting there sipping coffee, watching the whole thing go down. At one point, he like slightly moves his head to dodge a beer bottle. It gets thrown at him. But then we get introduced to, after all that's over, we get introduced to the band. And the band is the Jeff Healey Band.
Mm-hmm.
Classic. Good Canadian kid, Jeff Healey. Blind guitar player, plays his guitar on his lap. And it's awesome blues rock band, but I guess they go way back, him and Dalton.
Yep,
because they
somehow
again toss around lines like, I remember this dump we were playing down in Memphis or whatever.
I guess they just crossed paths at a different dive.
Yeah, but it's not like the Jeff Healey Band is a band that like moves on. Like they're the house band.
Yeah.
So they're like a traveling house band?
Or maybe they just had to quit their last one and came to a shittier place. Yeah.
I don't know. Because Jeff Healey also knows Sam Elliott's character.
Oh, yeah.
Wade Garrett, right? When he finally shows up, he's like, ladies and gentlemen, Wade Garrett. And everyone's like, oh, that's Wade Garrett.
Wade Garrett.
Because again, somehow
I read
everyone...
about him in the newsletter.
Yeah. Didn't you get the memo about Wade? Like, well, the other thing is, like, Dalton just, like, calls him up one day. Just calls him up at the bar that he's working at, which is having a wet G-string contest.
Oh, yeah.
He's a cooler at some other bar, and the bartender's like, hey, some guy Dalton on the phone for you. He's like, hey, how's it going down in Jasper? Because he just knows, like, where they are. There's this whole, like, I want them to make a movie about the underground network of coolers. And, like, what that's all about. Like where they're, like, an ancient society of the Knights Templar.
Yeah, and they keep really close tabs on each other.
Mm-hmm. They know all goings on with every member of their society, and so yeah, that'd be a fun movie. The secret society that just makes sure bars don't get out of hand.
Yeah.
It's a noble cause, I suppose.
Harry.
But yeah, so I guess they know each other is my point. Somehow.
Yeah, roundabout way of just saying they know each other.
This is like the only thing in the movie really that has bugged me. It's like, how does everyone know who he is, and why is he? Because it's like it's with like a level of like celebrity almost.
Yeah, definitely.
That he just like rolls into this bar and everyone's like, wow, it's Dalton, and I've never really understood why, and it's never addressed, and I guess I'm just supposed to take it as part of the the world of the film. And this is how it is.
Yeah.
But it's kind of it's always there, going like, that doesn't make sense, or curiosity as to like, well, if that's the case, then why? And I just really want to know. So, someone wants to make that movie, let me know. So Dalton shows up and starts cleaning house.
Mm-hmm.
He fires the head bouncer because he doesn't have the right temperament for the job.
Huge temper, that guy.
Uh-huh. And he fires the waitress that was selling Coke. The drug, not the soda. And he starts laying down his rules. Do you remember the rules?
I remember the third one. Rule number 1 was...
Never underestimate your opponent. Expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected. Rule number 1 was 2 things.
It was 2 things. Rule number 2...
Take the fight outside.
Never start anything in the bar unless you absolutely have to. Always take the fight outside.
Yeah.
And rule number 3, is
nice.
be nice. Some guy gets up in your face, calls you a cocksucker. Want you to be nice. Until it's time to not be nice. That's his rule.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I've heard that I think that's the scene that has been used in by some police force as like part of their training.
Really?
Use that scene as part of their training or
orientation.
Orientation. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for.
There you go.
They use that scene and like how to defuse situations.
Huh.
Because Patrick Swayze, like his thing is like it's just a job. It's never personal. And some guy says like, so what? Being called a cocksucker isn't personal? He says no. It's two nouns that are when put together are supposed to elicit an emotional response. And the guy says, well, what if someone calls my mother a whore? Swayze goes, well, is she? Which is awesome. Maybe the best comeback or like one-liner in the movie, because the movie is full of bad ones.
Oh yeah,
like
it's true.
Which is another reason why, if this was meant to be serious, then yikes, because it's not.
Some of the dialogue
leaves a lot to be desired. So he starts cleaning house. The next night he fires another one of the bouncers because he's letting in underage girls and having sex with them in the supply closet.
And his defense is, I'm on my break.
Yeah. Also, what's weird about that scene is she like has like her skirt like hiked up and like her shirt's pulled down a little bit, and he's just got all his gear off. Like he's like butt naked, tighty whities around the ankles. She's got still the majority of her clothes are still on, like you would if you were having sex in a weird tiny closet in the back of a shitty bar. Because what happens if Patrick Swayze opens the door? Well, then you gotta awkwardly like bend over and pull up your tighty whities, which is what he does.
Yep.
But yeah, that's another scene that I've always been like, why does he have to be entirely naked?
He was probably just really warm,
I guess, but I think it lends itself to this. There's a not so latent homoerotic element to this movie.
Not so latent is a good way to describe it.
Yeah. It's subtext that really just pokes its head above the surface and just really makes its presence known. Every dude in the movie makes eyes at Patrick Swayze at some point. I want to say there's like as many... maybe there's slightly more naked women than there are naked dudes, but you do get a good look at Swayze's ass at some point.
Oh, yeah.
You get a good look at Sam Elliott's pubes.
Oh, yeah.
He unbuttons his pants to show Doc a scar on his pelvis.
For fun.
But there's just a lot of like shirtless or like open shirted muscly dudes with mullets glistening in this movie.
Yeah.
And when there are naked women, they're there, but it's not dwelt on. Like they're naked and then we move on. But like when Patrick Swayze is shirtless doing Tai Chi,
that's all there is to focus on.
There's glory shots of that for a long time. And there's another dude watching him from across the river.
Yeah, like our main villain.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben Gazzara. What's this? Brad Wesley is the character's name.
Wesley.
The corrupt
tycoon,
business tycoon in the town. But yeah, he's just like on his like little like ATV thing, watching Patrick Swayze do shirtless Tai Chi, glistening in the morning sun.
Yep.
And, I mean, the most obvious, I think, where the subtext just really rises to the surface is the line, "I used to fuck guys like you in prison."
Yeah, that's Wesley's like dog.
Yeah,
essentially
his henchman.
Yeah,
main henchman.
Main henchman who's skilled in martial arts and is a bit of a psycho. Definitely makes the biggest bedroom eyes at Patrick more than once throughout this movie.
Well, and like, I don't know, I assume it was intentional, but he is dressed and looks very similar to George Michael.
Yep, with the
like the cross earring.
Cross earring, yeah.
Yeah, and like similar haircut, and even just like his face kind of looks close to George Michael from what I remember George Michael looking like. And yeah, he's always just like making eyes at Patrick Swayze, and even like at one point does like the like come here like curly finger.
Yeah.
To him, like in the middle of a fight, but he's like, "You," and then does the come hither finger, and it's just,
for the majority of the movie, I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, oh, this guy is straight up just like repressing his homosexuality.
Yeah, it's like a funny joke you
anger.
can make. Yeah.
And then in the fight scene with the two, when he has that line, "I used to fuck guys like you in prison," I was like, oh, it's not a joke.
No.
He's crazy and he wants him.
Yeah. But like maybe in like a hateful way.
Yeah.
Like he wants to hate fuck Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, that's what I was getting.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it wasn't that funny anymore.
No.
And
but
then
he gets his throat ripped out.
Yep.
Did you see that coming?
No.
Yeah. You never see it coming.
Earlier in the movie, it
was addressed though. Yeah.
Yeah. People are like saying there's rumors about Dalton because everyone knows about it, right? I heard that he killed someone. He killed a man, ripped out his throat.
Yeah. Back in Memphis.
There's no way that's true. And then like we learn that. Yeah, he did kill someone back in Memphis, and that's part of his dark past.
Oh yeah, it keeps coming up. Like everyone's always talking about, like, oh yeah, you still hung up on Memphis, like that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then
he straight up rips a guy's throat out.
Yeah, the dude pulls a gun on him, says, "I'm going to kill you the old-fashioned way," even though they were having a martial arts fight.
Yeah, that line really stuck out to me too. Kill you the old-fashioned way with a newfangled gun.
Yeah, with a 38. Just pulls out his ankle holster. Goes to shoot Swayze, and Swayze's like, "Nope, throat rip," and then karate kicks him into the water.
Yep.
And then throws his body even further into the water and screams at Brad Wesley, "Wesley, fuck you." That's his big line. To let you know.
What else do you say at that point, right?
I mean, I don't know. You could, like, "I ripped this guy's throat out. Isn't that fucked up? I'm coming for your throat next.
Yep.
Give me your throat, Brad." Something like that. Any of those maybe are better or worse. Maybe not. Who knows? He does. I lost my train of thought. Sorry, I don't know where I was going with that.
Hey, no worries. Let me jump in with my own track then.
Yeah.
So basically, the whole movie is about he's hired to clean up this bar with all the riffraff, but then ends up either through obligation or just through the connections he makes in the community feeling like he needs to clean up the whole town. Because the whole town is basically owned by Wesley. He demands 10% of all the business's profit, and he has like the police in his pocket and stuff like that, and he basically wants Patrick to roll over, offers him money, tries to buy him off, to let him do what he wants, because it kind of starts with that bartender who was scheming tips is like Wesley's nephew,
it's
his
nephew.
only sister's son, or his sister's only son, one of those.
His only sister's son.
There we go.
Yeah,
probably both. Only sister's only son.
And he's skimming off the register,
and so tries to like muscle Patrick into giving him his job back.
Yeah, well,
and
so
getting rid of him.
Like Wesley sends his like lawyer over, which is I don't know if he's dressed like a lawyer.
He did look like a lawyer.
Yeah.
And then he starts fighting.
And he starts fighting. He fights like a lawyer too. So, but he's like, "Oh yeah, the booze. You may be employed by the Double Deuce, but the liquor that it is supplied is sold by Brad Wesley, and Numbnuts over here is under the employ of Mr. Wesley." And he's like, "Well, I'm keeping my job." And then immediately pulls out a gigantic knife and attempts to fight Swayze.
Yep.
And Swayze has none of it and beats the shit out of him and throws him through a window.
Yep. That's why you don't pick a fight.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze.
And also, well, he does get slightly slashed on the ribs during that fight.
That's true.
And then has to go see Kelly Lynch at the hospital, and that's how we are introduced to her. She gives him staples in his ribs, and he requests no anesthetic. She's like, "I'll give you a local." He's like, "Nah, it's fine. I don't need it." She's like, "Will you like pain or something?" And he says, "Pain don't hurt," which is one of my favorite lines in the movie. Also, because what?
Yeah.
Like you could make.
It's a golden opportunity for a tough guy line.
Yeah, like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, or pain is weakness leaving the body, or whatever, but pain don't hurt. It's like, no, it does.
That's what it is.
It's the very definition of the word, is hurting.
Yeah, it's not great. Again, dialogue, not great.
Yeah, so that's, pain don't hurt. That's his mantra, I guess.
Good stuff.
We also learn in that scene that he majored in philosophy.
Yes.
At NYU. He's got a degree from NYU in philosophy.
It's more character development there for you.
Yeah. Someone needs to do the Dalton prequel movie.
Oh, yes, please.
Where he's...
But who would play him?
Channing Tatum.
What?
Maybe he's too tall.
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I'd watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd watch it.
Because he's smaller, a little, wiry. Channing Tatum's a little, too, macho buff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There is apparently, I don't know if it's still going to happen. There was, at one point, a remake planned with Ronda Rousey was going to be the main...
oh, really?
She was going to play the Dalton character. The MMA fighter.
Yeah.
But I don't know, she played herself in the Entourage movie, and she could barely play herself. So I don't know.
Oh, dear.
How well that would go over. But
anyway,
I really hope that doesn't happen. But let's talk about his wardrobe for a second.
Oh.
You notice how flowy his pants are?
Yeah.
I mean, and not just him. Other people also have flowy pants.
Well,
Ben Gazzara has flowy pants.
It's a statement to the fact that it was the 80s.
It was the 80s. But his pants, especially in the opening scene, are especially flowy. And then he's got, shirts that are
from the back,
they
look like a button-up.
Yeah.
And then in the front,
it's like a robe.
They, fold in.
Or like a kimono.
Well, not quite like a kimono.
It's like a kimono shirt. But, just the shirt part.
Just the shirt part.
Yeah.
Yeah. It made me think of like a judo uniform.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because they were always white, too.
Mm-hmm. And he's got that beige sweater vest that he rocks.
Oh, yeah.
From time to time. There's a lot of beige happening.
Yes.
In this movie. It was a bad time. For clothes.
And it only got worse as we went into the 90s.
It did. It really did. That's true. So he calls up Sam Elliott to come help him because Ben Gazzara Brad Wesley keeps getting sticking his nose in where it doesn't belong. Red's place gets set on fire, and he stops shipping booze to the bar. Yeah, no one will send them liquor anymore because Brad Wesley's threatened them, I guess, and so he calls in a favor to get some liquor delivered, and Brad Wesley's dudes show up to stop him, and that's when Sam Elliott happens to also be rolling in, and big old fight on the loading docks.
Yeah,
And,
that's a good scene.
First thing Sam Elliott does in the movie is punch a dude directly in the balls.
Yep. And then says, hurts, don't it?
Yeah.
With a smile on his face.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, what was your favorite part?
So one of my favorite parts of this movie is the character Emmett. So when Patrick comes into town, goes to the Double Deuce, does his thing, and then he needs to find a place to stay. So he goes. We see him drive up to some barn, and there's some old-timey farmer with a big beard, and I say, "Oh, it's Doc," and he says, "You're the one with the room to rent," and he shows him to his barn, which has a loft that looks hella nice.
It's a dope loft, man.
It's an incredible loft
It's got
being
like a
above
nice-
a barn.
Yeah, like a nice fireplace, a little kitchen area.
But yeah, he's just this old farmer who I think is hilarious. The things that he, like Patrick is calling him sir the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I wrote down part of the line so I had to remember.
Oh yeah, that was a
There's
good
no
one.
point in calling me sir. That's about as useful as an elevator in an outhouse.
Oh no, calling me sir is like putting an elevator in an outhouse.
Yeah, it
don't
just don't belong.
don't belong. Yeah. And then he's like, "Look, I gotta charge you." It's like, or money's, or it's not about the money for me, but there's so many Presbyterians around here that I gotta charge you something.
If I'm going to stay in their good graces.
Yeah. And so how's $100 a month sound? And I'm like, holy shit,
Yeah.
$100 a month
Right.
for that?
That beauty.
Yeah. I probably couldn't rent a broom closet in Vancouver for $100 a
No,
month.
definitely not. $250 min for that.
Yeah. I heard someone was paying $600 a month to sleep in someone's walk-in closet.
Oh dear.
Like that was their room.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Ridiculous. We got a serious housing problem. But anyways, like you can afford that much? And Patrick Swayze was like, well, if it keeps you in the good graces of the church. I said, it's funny how money tends to do that. I'm like,
Oh
zing.
yeah.
Got their number.
And that's when Emmett became my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this
Emmett's-
guy's amazing.
Emmett's great. But yeah, so basically, Brad Wesley just keeps causing more and more problems through town. Oh, wait, did we talk about his cars?
No.
Yeah, so one of the things he does when he first gets into town is he goes and he buys an old junker of a car, and he goes to a tire yard and he buys 4 new tires and loads them into the trunk, because every single night after he throws people out, they go and they slash his tires and throw a stop sign through his windshield. And
Yeah. I was really confused at first when he goes and buys the car. He's just like looking at it briefly and then asks, what did he ask? There's the price?
if the headlights work.
If the headlights work.
It's got I can't remember what kind of car it is, but it's got like eyelids that kind of open up on the front.
Kind of freaky looking, but
Yeah.
I kind of liked it. And then he just buys it, and I was like, "Oh, that was super weird. I don't understand why." And then,
Yeah, and you're like, wait, didn't he drive here? Doesn't he have a car?
yeah,
And I'm like,
has his own nice car.
just wait. And then
yeah, it's trashed every
yeah,
night.
it gets trashed every single night. He's got to put new tires on it. So yeah, it's the little things like that though in the movie that I kind of like, where like the little attention to detail, where I'm like, okay, someone put a little bit more thought into this than just like, I'm gonna have a movie where there's a bouncer and it punches people in the face. And I mean, there's a lot of face punching.
Oh, definitely.
But it's not just about the face punching.
No, that's just the perk, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are a lot of really nice little things throughout this movie that just make you laugh.
Mm-hmm. Like, I really like the scene where he picks up Sam Elliott and they go and pick up the doctor at the hospital, and they all go out for drinks. And then they end up like staying out all night and then going out for breakfast, and they're dancing in the middle of like the diner. Like Sam Elliott and the girl are dancing in the middle of the diner, and I really like that whole scene. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it was nice.
When Sam Elliott say that the girl has entirely too many
too
much brains to have an ass like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got your hands full with this one. But yeah, they just like stay out all night and end up at some greasy diner for breakfast, and I kind of like, I don't know, something kind of romantic and whimsical about it.
Yeah,
you know,
it is. Yeah, I was gonna say cute, but then it's more than that.
It is kind of cute. It's something like, oh yeah, I would do that. Although now I'm like, I'm gonna stay out all night. I don't have the stamina of Sam Elliott.
Oh, few do.
And I'm like half his age, so
Patrick
at
Swayze
that point,
was falling asleep.
half his age at that point.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's older now, but well, of course he's older now. That's how time works.
That is technically, yeah.
Fuck. That's great. So, anyways, then Ben Gazzara starts causing trouble all over town, driving monster trucks through car dealerships and whatnot, bragging about how he's bringing JCPenney to town.
Yeah.
Although why they'd want to show up, I have no idea.
And then, yeah, the final straw for Patrick Swayze is when he blows up Emmett's house.
Yeah. And at that point, he's like, you know what? Screw it, we're leaving. Because Sam Elliott tries, like, it's like, dude, forget these people. Like, let's just pack up and go. Like, we don't know these people anything, right? Like, it's not our problem anymore.
It's so much bigger than just cleaning out the bar.
Yeah, and he's like, you can go whenever you want. I gotta stay. And so then finally, Patrick, Swayze's like, all right, that's it, let's go. Calls up Wade shows up at the bar, and he's like, all right, that's it, we're done. Because Ben Gazzara calls him and threatens to kill either Wade or Elizabeth, the doctor.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, well, fine, fuck it, you win, I'm out. Wade shows up, he's like, wait right here, I'm going to go get Doc, and we're, hitting the road. Putting this town in our rear view. And he's like, all right. So then he goes to
the hospital
and tries to talk to her, and she won't leave. She's like, nah, I'm from here. This is my home. I'm not just going to abandon these people like that. And he's kind of like, okay, fine. Goes back to the bar where it looks like Wade is sleeping on the bar, and Swayze rolls him over, and he's got a knife sticking out of his chest with a note pinned to it that says it was Tails. So then he loses it, and he goes on a rampage where he jams that knife through the gas pedal of his BMW, or not BMW, Mercedes.
Yeah.
Drives it into the front of Wesley's house, and kills all of his guys
one by
one.
Oh, with the exception of old Chubbs.
Oh yeah, he only pushes a polar bear over onto him,
which is a fantastic scene.
Well, because his reaction is literally like, like he's doing like the cartoon, like
yeah, like he's all afraid of these stuffed animals. There's a big trophy room that Wesley has in his house.
He's a trophy hunter.
And
crushes him with a polar bear.
Yeah, and then he's like frozen in fear for a moment, and then has the wherewithal to shoot the polar bear with his gun several times.
Yeah,
and then it just falls on him.
Yeah. So then
it's amazing.
Yeah,
but didn't kill him.
No, it didn't kill him. But like Wesley and Swayze have a big old punch up, and the doc shows up at one point. Right as Swayze's about to do the throat rip again, but he stops himself. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm not going to do it. And he turns his back, and Wesley grabs the gun, and all of a sudden he gets shot.
Boom.
And then the camera pans over, and Red's standing right there with a shotgun. And then he gets shot again. And you see Emmett's there. And he gets shot again, and the dude that owns the car dealership was there. And then Tillman finally shows up. He's like, this is our town. And he shoots him again, and he goes flying through the glass coffee table.
Boom.
Yeah. Dead. Just shotgun the shit out of him.
Yep.
And then Red collects all their shotguns and runs out of the room just as the sheriff runs in, and he's like, "All right, someone want to explain what happened here?" Emmett goes, "Well, I didn't see nothing. How about you, Red? You see anything?" He's like, "No, I didn't see nothing." They all say they didn't see nothing, and then they ask Tubbs.
Yeah.
How
Who,
about
at this
you?
point, who has woken
Yeah,
up
he's
and
woken
kinda
up. He's
staggered into the room.
crawled out from underneath the polar bear that was crushing him. He's like, do you see anything?" And he looks over at some stuffed monkeys that are doing like the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil thing. Three stuffed monkeys are like, polar bear fell on me. I didn't see nothing.
Yep.
And then that's the end of the movie, which apparently I've heard.
And then Patrick and Elizabeth go skinny dipping.
They go skinny dipping.
That's the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's the end of the movie. I've heard that scene though was inspired by like a real thing that happened, where like some guy was murdered like in the middle of the street in broad daylight in some small town in the Midwest, and no one seems to have seen anything, even though he was shotgunned to death in the middle of the day.
What?
Yeah, well, that's kind of where the movie took inspiration, because it was like another guy that was like, shaking down local businesses and stuff like that.
And someone wasted him.
Yeah, and I guess the
But
town
no
folk,
one-
it was like a giant town conspiracy, but
Wow.
no one saw anything, and there's no evidence.
Shoosh.
So that's the rumor I've heard. Actually, I don't know if that's 100% true. What I do know is 100% true, though. Apparently, is Kelly Lynch, Bill Murray, is friends with Kelly Lynch's husband.
Okay. Good fact.
Yeah, he's a writer, producer, has worked with Bill on a couple of his movies, like Scrooged and a couple of other ones.
Okay.
Bill Murray will phone this guy every single time Roadhouse is on TV during this awkward sex scene between Patrick Swayze and Kelly Lynch.
Actually.
Apparently, he'll like phone him up. It'll be like 2 a.m, and like Roadhouse will be on TNT, and he'll like phone him up and be like, "Hey man, turn on TNT right now." And then he'll turn it on, and his wife will be having awkward sex with Patrick Swayze up against a fireplace. Yeah.
What a character.
I know, right? I'm like, what? That's a weird joke.
Like, it is super weird, but then also, like, if I was in the showbiz, I would do that to people. Come on.
Well, sure, but it's just kind of a random joke to keep doing over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, to do it once, that's funny, because you're like, "Hey, turn on TNT right now." It's like, "Oh yeah, okay, sure." Turn it on, and then like, "Ha, your wife's having sex with Patrick Swayze up against the fireplace. Suck it." Click. But to like repeatedly do it, that takes a lot of commitment.
That's just who Bill Murray is, I guess.
Yeah, he's got a lot of time on his hands, I suppose. All right. Anything else we need to cover? I think I got everything. Flowy pants. Yeah.
My other favorite scene is just that someone from Double Deuce comes and wakes up Patrick one morning, and Patrick is just sleeping, hugging a pillow.
Oh yeah, he was. He does hug a pillow.
Yeah. And I just thought, well, ain't that sweet?
And then she sees his ass and is awestruck.
Very much awestruck.
Like, yeah, can't turn away. Even though she tries. You can see her
ass
try.
Is cut.
It is. It is firm, I imagine.
Firmer than mutton.
That's pretty firm.
Oh.
All right. So, we've discussed how excellent this movie is, how much we enjoyed it, how much we appreciated it. How do you think the critics greeted this movie in the form of a approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes?
Rotten Tomatoes, okay, they're usually pretty bad, pretty harsh at least. Did it at least get like 72?
No.
No?
No.
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 Did it at least get like 60?
No.
No?
No.
Did it at least get 50?
No.
Oh, what?
It's
45?
You're closer.
Getting close?
It sits at 38%.
38.
Mm-hmm.
I had so much more fun than 38%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yowza.
But 81% of Google users liked it, so
Okay.
the people have spoken. I wonder what the Rotten Tomatoes audience score is, actually, because 66% of the audience liked it. Because, you know what? It is, at the end of the day, it's really fun. It's really entertaining. I enjoy it. Like I said before, I enjoy this movie on a healthy level. Yeah. And anytime I find out that people haven't seen Roadhouse, I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, you need to see Roadhouse. It's so good. And then they see it and they're like, wow, you're right. That's an awesome movie. So I don't know. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, for me, what always makes it a good movie is when I watch it again.
Right.
Because I love to rewatch movies. I do.
Sure.
And if I wouldn't watch it again, even if I enjoyed it, and be like, I wouldn't watch it again, then it must not actually be that good a movie. I would totally watch this again.
So just to clarify, you are giving this a Breakfast Club fist bump and not a craptacular rating.
Yes, because it's just a good movie.
Well, that makes two of us. Breakfast Club fist bump.
Fist bump.
Awesome. Well, that concludes our thoughts on Roadhouse. Just a phenomenal piece of cinema from Joel Silver's cocaine-fueled catalog of action, macho, punch-em-up cinema, and probably some of Swayze's finest work.
I'm really happy that this was my introduction to his work.
All right, well, I'm going to show you Point Break, man, because I still can't believe it's not only one of Swayze's best movies, it's one of Keanu's best movies.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wow.
And some top-notch Keanu Reeves action in that movie, so we'll have to check that one out. I don't know if it's podcast material, because I think it's universally agreed upon that movie is excellent.
We'll just watch it in our spare time. It's all good.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. But yeah, so I just want to actually, before I do the usual spiel, I just want to say that thanks to everyone who is listening to the show.
I really appreciate it.
August was our highest month yet in terms of downloads. So that's really awesome. Thank you for doing that and for supporting the show that way. And I want to make a little shout out to a guy I met a couple weeks ago by the name of Bryce Logan. Has a podcast called Let's Watch That. And he gets together with a different person every week and watches a movie and they talk about it. And he gave us a little shout out on Twitter and on his podcast too. So thanks, dude.
Thanks,
You're
Bryce.
Cool guy.
Bryce Logan.
Yeah, check it out. I think it's Let's Watch Pod on Twitter. They just put out an episode on The Holy Mountain, which is a weird, messed up art film from the 70s. It's super strange, but it's a really entertaining show. It's basically like this. He gets together with someone and they watch all kinds of movies. They've done an episode on Roadhouse too.
Oh,
so
nice.
Check that one out. But yeah, until next time, you can find us on Twitter and email, Gmail, retrocrappod@gmail.com, at retrocrappod on Twitter. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, the podcast, Apple Podcast app, YouTube, anywhere you like to listen to your podcasts. If you want to support the show with money, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/retrocrappod. And yeah, if you give us a like on iTunes, give us a rating, a review, it really helps us out a lot. Follow us on Twitter and tell all your friends that you like the show. We'll be back next month with a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
For Halloween / there is a Friday the 13th in October. So I thought, well, what better time to open our Friday the 13th account on this show.
Yeah.
Tossing around a couple of options here. I think I'll throw up a Twitter poll on Twitter. Let people vote on what we should watch, because there's a couple of Friday the 13th movies that would be good to do on this show. Anything else that I missed? I think that covers pretty much everything, yeah?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to the show. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you enjoy Roadhouse. And until next time, keep watching crap.